The roller coaster season continues for our Philadelphia Phillies, currently sitting with a 55-30 record at the top of the NL East by 2 games. They're coming off a big win against the Padres last night to kickstart that series in Citizens Bank Park. Welcome back to the Cherry Pinstripes podcast. My name is Shelfy. We got Biondi, producer, behind the ones and twos over there. Wild couple of weeks for the Phillies. Just a generally wild couple of weeks for the Phils. So coming off of that win last night, Wheeler goes 8 shutty. Bryce Harper's back in the lineup. I don't love the way that he entered it, though, if I got to be honest. Watched that interview with him yesterday. Pretty much just made it seem like the wrist is what it is. We're going to have to deal with it for the rest of the season. Don't love that, but hopefully, I mean, this is a guy who physically could not throw a baseball, put the lineup on his back to the World Series a couple of years ago. So if there's anybody that's going to grit through an injury and be okay, I have confidence that it's Bryce Harper. But with Bryce Harper back in the lineup, you're going to start seeing this team making some decisions. Otto Kemp's been getting a lot of at-bats since Bryce Harper went out. Third base, first base, they've even considered him out in left field a little bit, probably because the Max Kepler signing has turned into an absolute circus. And that's where we're going to focus our attention a little bit here to start the podcast. I got to say, I'm out on Max Kepler at this point, and I've tried to prop him up. I like Max Kepler, the player. Let's go all the way back to the spring training podcast. Didn't love the fit. I didn't love the fit. It's a left-handed heavy lineup. The team already on paper, the strategy against this team coming in, left-handed pitchers, left-handed pitchers, left-handed pitchers. Have not been able to hit left-handed starters for the last year. Every good team the Phillies play carry an extra lefty in their staff for that series. You see guys shuffle their rotation to get the lefties on the mound when the Phillies are coming to town. They've been doing it all year. Max Kepler was never going to be set up for success here, and he goes a 6-week stretch where he bats 167. A month and a half batting 167. You're on a 1-year deal. At that point, you're probably going to start getting some days off. They end up giving him 5 days off. And when he comes back into the lineup, the popular comments from Max Kepler, seeing him all over social media, doesn't feel like he's getting enough play time or enough reps to get into a rhythm. I got to call BS on it. At 7th in the team in at-bats, he was playing 5 or 6 days a week the first 3 months of the season. He started the first 55 of the first 65 games. Started. He's had his ups and downs, but the last month and a half has just been really bad. And until that 5-game slate where Rob just put him on the bench for like a week, he was playing way too much to say you weren't in a. That's why. I loved Rob Thompson's response. That was my favorite part. The next day he comes out and says, if you think a day off is going to throw you off, it's going to. Bang. Dagger. Correct. That's where I'm at on this. You can't bat 167 for a month and a half. There's no way you came in on a 1-year deal. I know they told you you're the starting left fielder. I highly doubt anyone in the Phillies organization said you're the starting left fielder, 162, no ifs, ands, or buts. You're on a 1-year deal. This is a team that has World Series expectations. And if we think outside the box that is just Max Kepler, they've been trying to figure out left field since McCutchen was here. Kyle Schwarber was out there in the World Series. They have never had third base. I watched Rhys Hoskins play left field. They have never had left field figured out. You're here on a 1-year deal to see if it might work. And if you're going to bat 167 over a 6-week stretch, this is where you're probably going to end up getting yourself DFA'd, because this is very fastly approaching the Whit Merrifield territory, where you're on the bad side with the fans. You're on the bad side of Rob Thompson, the manager. If he keeps batting 170, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Justin Crawford by the end of summer and Max Kepler isn't even on the team. Now, I do say I feel bad for the guy a little bit, not just because of the lineup thing. He's had 2 homers robbed this season, including a nasty play by Jackson Merrill yesterday. 3-run homer robbed. The Phils scored 4 runs in that game yesterday. They could have scored 8. Jackson Merrill takes 3 off the board. There was a couple lineouts. The Phillies were all over Matt Waldron yesterday, more than the box score would show. But sticking on Max Kepler here, I don't know, man. I don't see how, with how teams are approaching the Phillies, the way that this team is constructed, it's just not a good fit. I don't think it's really going to work. So are we going to let it ride to the end of the season and just see what he does in the playoffs? Probably not. because you have Justin Crawford, admittedly, kind of just lighting the world on fire down there in AAA right now. Batting average is up to, I believe, 340, 851 OPS. Just every time I think, hey, he's going to probably have a cold stretch eventually. No, like that kid wants to play Major Big League Baseball right now. And if they don't make a big splash at the deadline, I do think they'll add, at the bare minimum, a platoon-type bat like Austin Hayes last year like they did. But you're going to see Justin Crawford this year, and I don't think Max Kepler is going to be on this roster very long. But now I don't want to put too much pressure on my guy, Justin Crawford. So let's get into these trade rumors. You're already starting to see some Phillies trade rumors. Let's start with the outfielders. Two guys that I hope to see. Already seen one of them. Their names getting cycled around social media a little bit. Adolis Garcia, who had a big moment for the Rangers last night, hit a 3-run homer, went crazy after he hit the homer. I just think that's a good fit. Rangers are in a weird situation. I don't know if that'll happen. The other guy I would like to see is Byron Buxton, who's finally having a great season. I don't know what the price tag would be on either of these two guys. If they ask for Andrew Painter, you hang up the phone. But those are the two names that I think fit the best. Buxton in particular, he looks healthy. Buxton, we've always said it. When's Byron Buxton going to put a full season together? Every baseball fan in the country has wanted to see a full season from Byron Buxton. He's kind of doing it under the radar this year. He's going to be in the All-Star game, but it's not huge news. Byron Buxton's having an amazing year. I would love to see him be the guy because he doesn't just fit your need in the outfield. He fits your right-handed need. He's a veteran, too. He's got respect around the league. This is a guy that's been in Major League Baseball for a while and has a good reputation. I would love Byron Buxton. But the spiciness with the Phillies trade rumors right now, the spiciest rumors that we're seeing early here leading into the trade deadline are bullpen arms. And we knew that this was going to happen with this Phillies team, especially when Jordan Romano was really the only move they made in the offseason. When you lose Carlos Estevez and Jeff Hoffman, Dennis Santana and David Bednar. A report came out this week from Andrew Filipponi of the Pittsburgh Pirates beat, saying that the Phillies and the Pirates have been chatting about potentially moving not one, but both arms to the Phillies. Look, David Bednar over the last 2 years has actually surprisingly been up and down, even been sent down to the minors, come back up. He's pitched great over the last month and a half, though. He's currently sitting 41 strikeouts in 28 innings and a 2.8 ERA. Dennis Santana, kind of a different pitcher, 1.5 ERA, more soft contact, less strikeouts, only 28 Ks through 36 innings. But I'll tell you what, as a Dennis Santana holds category stuffer in fantasy this year, I like him. I think I like him a little more than Bednar. Bednar with the All-Star nods on his resume. I don't know. If you can get both, that would be fantastic. This is one, though, that I don't think will scratch the itch for the fan base because Dennis Santana is kind of an underrated, unknown guy. David Bednar, like I said, has been up and down. If Bednar comes here and, let's say, one of his first 3 appearances, he gives up a nuke, the fan base is going to be on edge until the season ends. Until they win the World Series, they'll be on edge. It's not the Mason Miller pickup that this fan base wants. That, again, I can't say this enough, is not going to happen. We're not getting Mason Miller, okay? We're not getting Josh Hader. This type of deal is exactly what you want. I don't know what the reaction will be. The other one I've seen online, potential Shelby Miller, Eugenio Suarez. Eugenio Suarez having a fantastic season for the Diamondbacks. I don't know what the Phillies would do defensively. Who goes where? Does Gino DH? Schwarber goes back to the outfield? I mean, does Harper has said he'll go back out to the outfield. I guess that would be the avenue. Bryce Harper's thrown out there that he'll potentially play the outfield if it means bringing another infielder here. Gino with Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller right now has a 2.1 ERA, 10 saves, and 0.99 whip. 0.99 whip. Love to see that. Some other names, Felix Bautista. Phillies and Orioles are always doing business every couple of years, it seems. He's a guy that could potentially get traded. Pete Fairbanks, always a solid arm down in Tampa. Rays, I'm sure, are always looking to flip older guys. But I don't know. The rumors are going to keep coming through. I'm sure we're going to see 10 more names between now and the actual deadline with the Phillies. But one thing is absolutely for certain, they're making a trade. And they're probably going to get multiple arms in here. I didn't even consider Dennis Santana, David Bednar. I love that. I don't know what it would cost. That doesn't feel like a trade that would cost you a top 50. I don't know if an Aiden Miller is a requirement for a trade like that. My concern is, and I've said this on the pod before, I wasn't as high on Starlin Caba last year when he flew up the ranks. So when we traded him for Jesus Luzardo, I loved it. I haven't been this hesitant on a single A international prospect as I am on Eduardo Tait right now. And that makes me nervous because he's the kind of guy that I could see getting thrown in the reliever deal this year. But he just got invited to the Futures game. He went from no one knows who this guy is to a top 100 prospect in less than a year down in Clearwater. He's an 18-year-old kid that's up there swinging like a grown man from both sides of the plate. The ball leaves his bat different. I don't know. I know Phillies fans, we're not used to seeing Phillies prospects constantly shooting up the ranks. It's been happening lately. Caba nets you a Jesus Luzardo. Can Tait bring you in a little bit of package this year to deadline? Do you even want to do that? We will get answers in a couple of weeks. Also coming up in a couple of weeks is the All-Star break. And this All-Star break is going to be a lot different than last year's All-Star break, where the Phillies set a franchise record for players in the All-Star game. They added to it when Christopher Sanchez was added to the team right before the All-Star game. Wheeler might be the only guy. Ranger Suarez should be on the team, but he did miss a couple of starts. You know, they're weird with the pitching staffs sometimes. And Wheeler might be the only guy, and he may not even pitch depending on how it lines up. So you may see a Phillies World Series contender with no one in the All-Star game this year. But let me give you some fun facts about the Phillies. They play better when this happens. Their last 2 team MVPs were not All-Stars three. Their last 3 MVPs were not All-Stars that season. Every time they face a team, Atlanta Braves, in the playoffs that beat them out for the division, they win. It just, I hate to keep leaning into the underdog thing with Philadelphia, but I love doing it with the Eagles, and I'm going to start doing it with the Phillies now. There's just something about this city and these teams when they're the underdogs. And I think the city having like that mantra and like that reputation to begin with, that the team buys into it, I think is what happens. But they just play better when they're the dog. They do. They just do. I think Bryce Harper lives for that type of energy, and that's infectious and contagious throughout the dugout and the clubhouse. The Phillies it's weird. They're 55-30. I know they're a confident bunch, but there's a lot of question marks on this roster. They hear the noise. I know a lot of them guys are online. They know that that everyone wants them to upgrade the lineup. Everyone knows that we're not getting enough power. Everyone knows we need righties. Everyone knows we need bullpen. Sometimes I try and put myself in the shoes of the player. Like, how do you go to work every day knowing that everyone thinks you guys aren't good enough? You know? Because they're a World Series contending team with this crazy payroll. Everyone thinks they're a couple players away right now. Can this All-Star break, where they're all going to sit around, no one's at the All-Star game except Zach Wheeler. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber could potentially get a nod, but it was weird with the voting. Devers' votes carried over. So Schwarber got bumped all the way down to like 4th or 5th behind Seiya Suzuki. And I don't think any of these guys are even going to be on the team. And I think it could be a good regroup, even though they're in first place, to try and get a little bit more consistent in the second half. And just find a little bit more of a consistent identity as a team. The trades will help. But the best thing for the Phillies, I think, is to not be sitting at the top. To not have the entire infield mic'd up for the All-Star game together. To not have guys in the home run derby and doing this and doing that. Let's win a World Series. I want the 2022 vibes back. And we can fill some holes at the deadline this year, have some fun in the second half. This team is still extremely good, and I'm excited. So, excited to be back on the pod. Excited to be talking Phils again. We got 2 more games here against the Padres, and then we got another week before the All-Star break. But there's going to be a lot of changes with your Phillies team down the stretch. Roster's going to expand later in the year. You're going to see more Otto Kemp. Currently, OPS is just under 700, but I would say most Phillies fans are happy with how he's performed since he came up. He's had some moments. He's been confident up there is the biggest thing. He's having pro at-bats. When he hits the ball hard. He says all the right things, too. I thought it was really cool that he never went to Citizens Bank Park until he got called up, and his first game in the Bigs was his first time there, because Lehigh Valley's right down the street. The Iron Pigs can go to Phillies games in an hour whenever they have a day off. Like, he purposely did that. There's something about him. I like him, and Justin Crawford's another one. So we'll see you guys on the next pod next week. Next Tuesday, we're going to get back on the microphone, so hopefully we have a lot more wins to talk about. Probably going to have a handful more trade rumors to talk about with how things are spiraling right now online. I was sitting on the train just like kind of looking up different rumors that were out there, maybe some stuff I didn't see. There's rumblings. Not everything's a reliable source, so I didn't put it on the sheet. But there's a lot of rumblings out there with the Phillies already. And I wouldn't be shocked if you see a deal from them before the deadline and then again at the deadline, because they're not deep back there. You go when you have 3 guys in your rotation have a sub-2 ERA over a month and you go 14-13. Bryce Harper was out, but as we know, this lineup needs a little bit more help. I'm excited for the second half. They're still in first place. The Mets are back to LOL Metting and on a complete tailspin. I think they're a good team that's not going to stick around, though. So, again, I'm rambling at this point. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Go check us out on all the other platforms, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Philly Sports JM. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.